Yes. Good morning, everyone. We are going to start now. Good morning, Prof Ballim, Dr Rakometsi, the Accreditation Committee of Council members, executive members, Umalusi staff, and our very special guest today, and that is the education institutions, or rather the accredited education institutions. I'm Eva Suji. I'm the Executive Manager of the Quality Assurance and Monitoring Branch, and this wonderful team, hardworking and diligent team that put this accreditation forum together falls within my branch. I'm not going to say a lot about the welcoming because that privilege is reserved for our CEO, Dr. Rakometsi. But before I proceed, may I ask you to ensure that your phone is on silent, please. Now, Umalusi is in its 7th year of certificate award ceremonies, and it is the 6th accreditation forum. Even COVID did not prevent us from holding the ceremonies when we adapted to an online platform. This year, we continue in the modality started last year by holding this forum in a hybrid format, online and physical. And I hear we have already 400 and something people on the online platform. Now, the physical meeting here at the Protea Fire and Ice in Mainland, Pretoria Hotel, is attended by presenters, institutions receiving accreditation certificates, and some Umalusi staff members. At the same time, as I said, the meeting is being streamed as a webinar for other participants around the country who are joining us online. In today's meeting, accreditation certificates are being awarded to institutions that were granted accreditation between the 1st of January of 2023 and then January 2024. The Accreditation Forum serves as a platform for information sharing about current topics affecting independent schools, private colleges, and then accreditation processes of Umalusi. We trust that this information sharing will assist in enhancing the quality of provision in the sector. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to call Bianca van Zyl, the Health and Safety Officer, to brief all in attendance at this physical meeting on the health and safety regulations that must be followed at the venue before we begin our official program.
Welcome to Fire and Ice Minden. Here's just a quick briefing. In case of any emergency, you will proceed straight to the back. To your right-hand side, there's an emergency exit over there. In case the emergency occurs there, please follow to the left-hand side. Just behind the curtain, out there is another emergency exit. Bathrooms is just straight across the hall. To the left-hand side is the ladies, and it's the only time the gents will be right in this hotel. For the Wi-Fi, you can just connect to Marriott Bonvoy Conference. There is no password required. If there's any medical emergency, I am also a first aider. I can assist you. In case it's above my abilities, the Pretoria East Hospital is east 5 blocks from us, literally just there. Then at 12:30, we will have a Marriott Bonvoy activation station in reception. It is our loyalty program. We do encourage you all to please join us in the loyalty program. It's not going to cost you anything. You just enroll. You will accrue points when you stay with us. If you have your own events, you can also get the points and redeem the points when you stay. For the online attendees, please go to marriottbonvoy.com and you can also enroll yourself there. Thank you so much. Enjoy.
Thank you, Ms. van Zyl. Allow me just to share some technical information to members who are joining us online about the webinar features and the forum proceedings. Due to it being a webinar, you will not have the function to raise your hand. You will not be able to unmute yourself or show your video. Questions and comments should be made on the chat feature. Responses to your questions will be made on the chat by the designated officials from Umalusi. Umalusi officials will also table questions raised in the chat to presenters on your behalf as necessary. We would like you to complete the feedback form. Those of you in the house, you will find the feedback form on your tables, in your pick. For those who have joined the forum online, please complete the feedback form online using the link that will be provided later on in the chat. Please click on that link to access and provide us with feedback on today's accreditation forum and certificate award ceremony. Your feedback is valued as it allows Umalusi to improve on future forums. The presentations from today's forum, will be available to you on the Umalusi website. Allow me now to introduce the CEO of Umalusi, Dr. Rakometsi, who will officially welcome you. Before I introduce Dr. Rakometsi, please be aware that he's actually on leave, and he especially came in for this accreditation forum. Can we give him a hand just for that? A very dedicated CEO. Dr. Rakometsi is an accomplished administrator whose career spans 41 years of uninterrupted service in the public sector, with a specific focus on basic education as his field of specialization. Throughout his illustrious career, Dr. Rakometsi has demonstrated his competencies as an astute executive manager, leader, and administrator, having served on different levels of the public sector in South Africa. He was born and raised in Welkom in the Free State. He started his career as a secondary school teacher at Ria Rabetswe, Woodendalsrus, and served in other various schools in Kwakwa. He served as a lecturer, senior lecturer, and head of department at Chia College of Education, while simultaneously serving as a history lecturer at the Kwakwa branch of the then University of the North. Thereafter, Dr. Rakometsi accepted a position as the head of subject advisory services at the Welkom Education District, and subsequently rose through the ranks to become the head of examinations at the Northwest Department of Education. He then served as Director, Chief Director, and Chief Director for Educational Development and Professional Services at the Free State Department of Education, where he was later promoted to the position of Superintendent General, or the head of the department as we know, successfully leading a department with 32,000 employees across the province. In 2009, Dr. Rakometsi was appointed as Chief Executive Officer at Umalusi. Dr. Rakometsi is an active member of the Southern African Association for Educational Assessment, that is the SAHIA, the Association for Educational Assessment in Africa, the AEAA, and the International Association for Educational Assessment, the IAEA. At the same time, he serves in the Executive Committee of the IAEA. Dr. Rakometsi has been a member of the following councils and boards since 2009, the Umalusi Council, the South African Qualifications Authority, SEQA, Heidelberg College for Higher Education since 2005, and then the QCTO, the Quality Council for Trades and Occupations, since 2011. Dr. Rakometsi is a recipient of the University of the Free State Alumni Cum Laude Award in 2018. Can we then put our hands together for Dr. Rakometsi?
Thank you very much, Dr. Suji. Let me start by acknowledging the presence of the following people: Professor Umalusi Ballim, Chairperson of Umalusi Council, members of the Accreditation Committee of Council present here, and Dr. Eva Suji herself, who's the Executive Manager for Quality Assurance and Monitoring. Mr. Emmanuel Sibanda, Executive Manager for Qualification and Research. Mr. Hendrik van der Walt, who is our Chief Financial Officer. Ms. Thomas, who is Umalusi, Senior Manager of Evaluation and Accreditation Unit. We've got a number of Umalusi Senior Managers here. I'm not going to introduce them. We are welcome colleagues. Officials of the Department of Higher Education and Training and officials of the Department of Basic Education, colleagues from the provincial education departments, the principals and managers of private education institutions represented here today, both in person and online, members of the National Alliance of Independent Schools Associations, NAISA, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to welcome everyone to this hybrid accreditation forum. Whether you are participating online from various locations around the country or in person at this event, it is a tremendous honor to have all of you here today as we celebrate the hard work, dedication, and achievements of the accredited institutions. I wish to reaffirm to you, colleagues, that Umalusi is always committed to upholding the highest standards of quality and integrity in everything we do. That's our commitment. We have always strived to deliver exceptional service to our clients, and we understand that this can only be achieved through the relentless pursuit of excellence. Integrity is a core value that we hold dear. We believe in consistently delivering our mandate with honesty, transparency, and ethical behavior. That's what we respect. I also wish to acknowledge the work that is done by the members of the Accreditation Committee of Council, the people who work with many accreditation reports and recommend the outcome of accreditation applications. I'm confident that with their commitment to quality and integrity, they deliver our mandate excellently. You have access to Umalusi's newsletter called Makoya. When you look through it, you will realize that we have included statistics on the number of accredited institutions. This will give you a sense of the number of institutions accredited to offer qualifications on our sub-framework of qualifications. It will also give you a sense of how much work has gone into delivering the outcomes estimated at more than 42,000 individual reports. The theme of this accreditation forum and certification award ceremony is empowering excellence, pursuing quality education in a world of technological advancements. That is our theme. The meeting today will address two pertinent topics, including quality education in the midst of technological advancements, updates on developments affecting private education institutions offering qualifications registered on the General and Further Education and Training Qualifications Sub-Framework. I want to extend my heartfelt appreciation to every institution represented here today for your commitment to excellence and your passion for quality education. May you continue to uphold the standards even after having been awarded your accreditation certificates. That is very important. I congratulate all the institutions that are being awarded accreditation certificates today. Program Director, I find it necessary to use the opportunity to clear the existing misconceptions about the Independent Examinations Board and the National Senior Certificate debate. You may have observed that in commenting about the 2023 matric results, some sectors of our society have commented by way of implying that the IEB is a qualification. that is in competition with the NSC. As you are aware, that is not factual. The IEB is not a qualification, but an assessment body accredited by Umalusi to assess the National Senior Certificate and the GETC ABET. The learners in the IEB system receive the NSC certificate that is quality assured and issued by Umalusi. The same is true of Sakai and DBE learners. Let me explain by painting a scenario. Here are 3 learners, 1 each from the DBE, IEB, and Sakai, and they present their 2023 NSC certificate to University X in application for admission into a degree program. The university will not be able to differentiate which of the 3 learners wrote their NSC under the DBE, IEB, or Sakai. The long and short of the message is that the IEB is an assessment body accredited by Umalusi to offer qualifications on the Umalusi sub-framework of qualifications. The IEB assesses the National Senior Certificate NSC based on the curriculum and assessment policy statement, just like the DBE and Sakai. It also assesses the GETC ABET qualification, just like the Department of Higher Education and Training and the South African Comprehensive Assessment Institute. The learners who write the examinations through the IEB get their certificates from Umalusi, just like those who write through the Department of Basic Education, the Department of Higher Education and Training, and Sakai. That is my story. That is my story. It is our hope that as independent schools and private colleges, you will work with us to clear the public misconception about the NSC vis-a-vis the IEB debate. I think the issue has been clarified. You may have come across, on another note, across stories in the media regarding individuals who deal in the sale of fake or fraudulent certificates. I must clarify that these activities do not include Umalusi staff members. Externally, the SAPA, South African Police Service, detained 11 suspects between October and December of 2023. Umalusi will keep collaborating closely with law enforcement agencies to ensure that the scammers and fraudsters are dealt with accordingly and are held accountable to the full extent of the law. Another matter that I would like to refresh your memories about is a recent Umalusi study titled International Benchmarking of the National Senior Certificate, which was conducted by ACTIS, formerly known as UK NARIC, on behalf of Umalusi. The study benchmarked the NSC against 5 international qualifications, namely International Baccalaureate Diploma Program, Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, New South Wales Higher School Certificate, the Zimbabwean Forms 5 to 6 Advanced Level, and Cambridge Assessment Institute. Cambridge Assessment International Education, AS and A levels. The overall conclusion of the study is that the NSC provides its holders with an internationally comparable level of education. The full report is accessible on the Umalusi website, www.umalusi.org.za. We are proud of our qualification, the National Senior Certificate. It stands its ground against international qualifications. Friends, I now introduce Professor Umalusi Ballim. I'm going to introduce him, and then there will be a video played. And only after the video would have been played, Professor Ballim will come over on stage. Professor Umalusi Ballim holds a Bachelor of Science degree, a Master of Science degree, and a PhD degree in Civil Engineering from the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg. He currently holds an Emeritus Professorship in Civil Engineering at the Wits. He was the head of the School of Civil and Environmental Engineering from 2001 to 2005. His research is mainly in cement and concrete materials science, and he has served on a number of local and international technical committees in his research fields. He served as the founding president of African Materials Research Society and held the Bram Fischer Oxford Fellowship in 2000. Between 2006 and 2012, he served as the Deputy Vice Chancellor, academic, and the Vice Principal at WITS. He served 2 terms as a member of the Commission on Higher Education in South Africa and was chair of the Higher Education Quality Council, HEQC. He served a 6.5-year term as the founding Vice Chancellor of the Solplaki University in Kimberley. He's a member of the board of the CSIR and has served on the Council of Umalusi since 2018. He was the chair of the Assessment Standards Committee of Umalusi at that time and is presently the chairperson of the 6th Umalusi Council. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to me. Professor Ballim will join us on stage after we would have listened to a video clip. I thank you.
The Association for Educational Assessment in Africa, the AEAA, has chosen South Africa to host their 2024 annual AEAA Conference. This is the AEAA's 40th conference and will be held from the 19th to the 23rd of August 2024 in Cape Town.
Umalusi appreciates the confidence bestowed on it by the Executive Committee of the Association for Educational Assessment in Africa to organize the 40th AEAA Conference. The conference will take place at the Century City Conference Center, an hotel in Cape Town, South Africa, from 19 to 23 August 2024. The theme of the conference is Reimagining Educational Assessment in the Age of Multiple Dimensions of Learning in a Global Society. The word Umalusi is a Nguni word referring to the header, shepherd or guardian of the family's wealth. In this instance, the name Umalusi is used to illustrate that we are taking care of the country's most valuable possession, which is education in general and further education and training in South Africa. Umalusi delivers on his mandate by ensuring the development of qualifications and associated curricula as are required for the sector, accrediting providers to offer Umalusi's qualifications, accrediting private assessment bodies to assess the qualifications, quality assuring provision and assessment, issuing certificates to qualifying learners, and conducting research.
At the southern tip of Africa lies a city between mountains, pristine beaches, and the merging point of 2 great oceans. A city of light and color, a deep blend of African cultures and European influences, where life imitates art and art comes to life. Cape Town, the mother city located in the Western Cape province, known as not being only one of the most beautiful cities in the world, but being the design capital of the world as well. Cape Town offers something for everyone, from the historic architecture, parks, and nature reserves, winelands, beaches to luxurious world-class hotels that will not only pamper your soul, but will make you feel that you are on top of the world. It's a city of trendy sidewalks, cafes, and top restaurants catering for every taste, from fish and chips on the beach to designer delicacies you won't forget in a hurry. Cape Town is a rich and vibrant tapestry of our history, our vision, our passion, our dream. Where would you stay for the duration of the conference?
There are 5 hotels within a walking distance from the conference center where our guests will be accommodated. There are also various excursions our visitors will get to enjoy. You can visit Robben Island, Table Mountain Cableway, Cape Point, the Wine Road, and also pay a visit to the penguins in their natural habitat.
We look forward to welcoming you to the mother city, Cape Town.
New technology and the evolution of technology in teaching and learning and education in not only in South Africa but globally as well. And so it's try to test and reflect on, without providing any answers, but perhaps reflect on the meaning of these developments. And I want to start by telling you 2 stories, both from the creative visual arts. One from a movie and one from a little sketch. And the first is a sketch, for those of you who watch Monty Python. This is, except this was John Cleese and Peter Cook. Cleese is a gentleman sitting at a bus stop, English gentleman reading a newspaper. And Peter Cook is a madcap Englishman sitting next to him who just keeps babbling. And he's talking all the time. And he says, Peter Cook says, "Did you know that an Arab can live on a single grain of rice for a whole year?" So this guy brings a newspaper and he looks at him. He says, no, I'm sorry. I think that's a mosquito, not an Arab. A mosquito can live on a single grain of rice for a whole year. I get confused because they are next to each other in the dictionary. So this guy looks, he says, Arab and mosquito. He says, no, mosquito and mosque. Illustrating the reality, which is one of the points I want to make here, about the ridiculousness of facts that are not filtered. You can know a lot and actually know nothing. And so that's really the starting point of my talk this morning, is that data is not information. Information is not knowledge, and knowledge is not wisdom. Okay? it'll take me a long time to explain that, but I'm sure you get the point. The second point I want to, story I want to tell you is from the movie The Matrix. Those of you who watch it, if you were in your youth, watch The Matrix. For those of you who don't know the movie, the thesis is quite simple. As you know, I'm standing here, I'm speaking, I'm creating pressure waves, okay? Pressure waves are the analog part of our communication. The pressure wave is causing your tympanic membrane to shake in your ear. It's turning into a digital signal, which is creating a picture in your brain. You all are competent to speak English. So I'm using an analog system, which is a pressure wave, to externalize ideas, arriving as digital symbols in your mind. So if I create a pressure wave saying dog, there's a furry, four-legged furry animal image in your head, okay? Is it a scary animal? I don't know. Is it a friendly animal? I don't know. But you and I have a shared code. No? We speak English. So if I say, I know, Timeo Danaus et dona ferentes. Those of you who don't know Latin or don't speak Latin, with apologies, it comes from Virgil. I fear the Greeks even when they bring gifts. This is from the Trojan Horse story. Laocoon tells the people in Troy, Timeo Danaus et dona ferentes. Now, if you don't know the code, you can hear what I'm saying, but it doesn't. The thesis of the movie The Matrix is, what would happen if we eliminated the analog and dealt only with the digital? So you get plugged in at the back of your head, and a computer loads all the digital images that you need. So you create a reality. And in the movie, the main characters are in a battle with the enemy. And Neo, the character, says to his friend Trinity, can you fly a helicopter? She says, not yet. And she talks to the controller on the computer. She says, I need a program to know how to fly a helicopter. And he downloads a program into her brain. Her eyes flick like that. And when he's finished, she knows how to fly a helicopter. Okay, she says, okay, let's go. And they go off and they do battle. And a number of our students have said, can't you give us degrees like that? Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could simply download what I need to know into my brain digitally? I don't have to waste my time in a classroom. I don't have to even spend time at all. I can be competent tomorrow morning. All you have to do is download, okay? We're not there yet. Human beings are mad enough to get there. And I guess that's what the director of the movie, the point that the movie was making, is that it is possible if you're mad enough to get there. Elon Musk is talking about brain-stimulated signals that will open and close your fridge or start your car, etc. If you think about starting your car, the car will start, etc. Yeah. So who knows where we're going to go with this technology? I don't want to do an analysis of the relationship between science and society. I should also say that I'm a skeptic of the discourse of fourth industrial revolution. I think it misses the point. If those of you who read Marx, an industrial revolution is a significant technological shift. This is not the fourth industrial revolution. ESCOM was using neural networks and artificial intelligence to predict the future price of coal and the future demand for electricity in the late 1960s. I started using neural networks in the 90s in my research. This is not new. Artificial intelligence is not new. We're just using it in new ways, and particularly the commercial world has seen the possibility of opportunity. So I'm a skeptic. I'm also a skeptic because the whole discourse of the fourth industrial revolution is focused on the means of production, the spanner, the hammer, etc., rather than the relations of production. Who owns the hammer? What should we do with the hammer? You can kill somebody with a hammer, and some people have done so. That doesn't mean we must stop producing hammers just because somebody's misused it. So the relations of production is what Marx was very concerned about. And I don't think there's enough attention to the relations of production. And I'm going to bring that argument to the conversation we're trying to have, which is the place of technology in teaching and learning. And I will get there. And of course, the very important point about the impact on pedagogy. What is the impact of all this technological advance on pedagogy and the pedagogical process? And I'm using the word pedagogy in the sense of a component of curriculum. Curriculum is not only about the content knowledge, as I'm sure I'm speaking to the converted here. Curriculum is also about the values we wish to transfer in the way that we teach. It's also about how we're going to transfer that. Shall we do it face-to-face? Shall we do it online? Shall we do it in a classroom of 50 children, in a classroom of 10 children, etc.? Those are pedagogical questions. How we will teach. What are our approach to learner support, tutorials, etc. And it'll always be more than the content of the curriculum. The content of the curriculum will change over time. And here's a point I make to my students always, particularly my research students. The best of human scientific endeavor, finest of human intellectual endeavor, is about finding better wrong answers. That's really all we're trying to do. Let's leave the truth to God. We know that next year somebody's going to disprove those. And anybody who uses a cell phone, I mean, I'm amazed at how this year's wonderful technology is next year's boring old technology. Things change. We understand the world. How do we interpret the empirically observable world? How do we give meaning to that? For 300 years, the Romans and the Greeks, making wonderful contributions to mathematics, to science, to law, philosophy, believed that lightning was caused because the gods were having an argument with each other. It worked for them. That's the way you explain the observable universe. Until the paradigm shift arrives. People use the word paradigm lightly, but a paradigm shift happens when the entire framework of the way in which we understand the world gets unbundled and destroyed. And the paradigm shift in that case was the argument that no, there's only one God. And then you can't explain lightning by saying, well, God's having an argument with himself. You have to find another way of explaining lightning. And everybody has an epistemology. Everybody is able to explain the world that they observe. Some are mad. That's okay. We call it superstition. Some are rational. And I'm coming to rationalism as well in a short while. But what we do want to do is think about the place of technology in the way that we engage in this business called teaching and learning. Now, the first point that challenge that, let's talk about the positives before we talk about the challenges. Growth of internet, I mean, it's amazing. Just in my short lifetime, remember, I worked in industry. I built bridges all over the place and was technical manager for a precast concrete company. I saw the first desktop computer. I worked on a Hewlett-Packard desktop computer. It had 56 kilobytes of RAM. Amazing that we could do so much processing. Today, I mean, 56 kilobytes of RAM, you can get that with like a child's toy. The square kilometer array is delivering a petabyte of data. That's 1 trillion megabytes every second. That's what we've got to. It is impossible to process that amount of data in one lifetime, that you can deliver in 1 second. So what we do is we have algorithms, as our brain does. We have algorithms that kick out useless information. If you gathered all the information, if you opened your ears, your eyes, your nose, and you stood outside for about 10 minutes, 10, 20 minutes, you'd get more information than your brain could process in a lifetime. So what your brain does is create algorithms Every nerve in your back and in your bum and your thighs is sending signals from the chair that you're sitting on, but your brain's eliminating them until somebody puts a drawing pin in the chair. Then your brain's interested. But everything else is just being eliminated. That's why witnesses tell different stories of the same event, because we see the same thing, but we choose to eliminate some things. We walk past a tree, we know that's a tree. That's enough. It has the shape, color, texture, behavior, mannerism of a tree. That's enough. We don't need to know more about it. Until we are biologists, and we say, well, what's the shape of the leaf? What kind of tree is it? Etc. So it's those kind of ways in which your brain processes and uses algorithms. Algorithm, by the way, comes from the Arabic name Algorath, who developed this rules for writing natural phenomena in mathematical form, and that's called an algorithm. And so our brain uses that and just eliminates data all the time, information. But what it's done is it's also starting to simulate human brain function. So artificial intelligence, those of you who've used ChatGPT, etc., etc. It's amazing what these things can do. It really is. It's trying to simulate human reasoning and human behavior. And so it's asking questions, but of course it's also giving access to people who would otherwise not have access. I mean, one of the cornerstones of democratic societies is that people have the ability to get access to information. The nation state was only possible when we learned how to write books and make them accessible to poor people. I mean, Cervantes, this is Cervantes' greatest gift to the modern world, is to write a novel that captures the imagination of a group of people who self-identify as, in that case, Spaniards. To create a narrative that says we would like to create a nation state. Before that, there were city-states. There were no nation states. People kill each other for borders nowadays. It's a madness, but yeah, that's what we do. But the idea of the novel as ubiquitously available made information available to everybody. And of course, bad leaders have always tried to suppress reading. For a long time, the Catholic Church prevented people from getting into the library. Libraries were locked during the Dark Ages. Today, we live in a world where people prevent children from going to school. These are the savage methods that have remained with us. People still try to keep children out of school. People take children, get them out of school, give them a gun and turn them into soldiers. The habit of keeping human beings away from learning has been one of the important points of control. And this really is the point about education as having a liberating function. The principal point of education is to liberate, is to free minds of dogma, is to free minds in ways that would challenge authority. There's a madness in America. America's full of madness that says knowledge is power. You've heard that rubbish before. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is about challenging power. Those who think they are the custodians of the truth, who believe that God whispers directly into their ear, are the ones that should be challenged all the time. And it is a characteristic of all dictators, all bad leaders, that they firmly believe that God spoke directly into their ears. And that's the truth. And this is what has to be challenged. And sometimes we live in societies where the good people are in prison. That's as it should be. The good people must be in prison in those worlds. And please don't go out and stop bullets, but just be careful. What we have to do is say we choose not to bow down to that shadow of unreason. And that's why we teach children. And I'll come back to that point just as I close. But here's the big challenge to teachers. If information is so ubiquitously available, what case do you make for asking your students to come to your class? There's the challenge for teaching. If information is so ubiquitously available, anybody with a cell phone can find out what the cumulative mass of the ant population in the world is. go to Google or ChatGPT and say, how many species of ants are there in the world and what do they weigh? You'll probably get an answer. If that kind of information is so ubiquitously available to your students, to anybody, why are you asking your students to come to your class? And that really should be what focuses your the question of what does it mean to teach? What value are you adding? And I want to argue that it is about the human relationship in the process of teaching. Because it is the values that we transfer to our students that is more than the content. I'm using the word values here to mean the things that will regulate your behavior in the absence of rules. Why would you help an old person with the groceries across the road? There's no rule that says you must. It's your values that tell you that you should. If you follow my definition of values and you don't have to accept it, then negative values are also possible. Selfishness will also regulate your behavior. So selfishness is a value. And it is possible to acculturate a society into a world of selfishness. I want to give you an example. I was at North Carolina State University. I was doing some collaborative research with an academic there. I was sitting in a tea room and two academics were having a conversation. It's in third year civil engineering where we introduce students to nonlinear analysis of structures. It's a particularly complex process. You get it eventually, but it's the first time that you can't rely on Newton's laws to analyze forces and displacements. And so it's a complex way of analysis, but students get it. One student in the class said to the other one, I'm struggling with nonlinear analysis. Can you help me? And his friend reasoned as follows, because remember they mark to a grade point average. Yeah, so they say 10% of students should get A's, 10% of students should fail, more or less. And if you get 20% A's, then you need to shift the curve to adjust, etc. So the student reasoned as follows: if I help you, your marks will increase, which means that the possibility is that the curve will be shifted downward, which means I'll get less marks. So I will help you, but after the exam. Here's a wonderful educational system that encourages selfishness as a value. I don't think that many people in the US have thought about this. But when you penalize people for acting like good human beings to support their fellow humans, then there's something wrong with the way in which you've constructed your value system. And you have to think about it. And you have to say, what are the values I wish to inculcate in my students? And yes, it is the way I teach, but it's also the way in which the cashier at the tuck shop talks to students. It's the way in which the staff clean the classroom. It's the fact that the teacher walks in before the class starts, picks up a paper and put it in the dustbin. That's a learning opportunity for those students that ChatGPT can never do. These systems, wonderful as they are, can never do the human part of the relationship between those who wish to teach, and those who wish to learn. IT can never do those things. That's what we do. Because what turns facts, what turns information into wisdom is warm hearts and fine minds. That's what we do. We bring the warmth of our love for our students, of our care, to give this cold universe some meaning. That's what we do. And if we don't do that, then there's no learning taking place. And that's why I won't download a degree into your mind. Because you have to smell me. I have to look you in the eye. I have to feel that there's a human being I'm engaging with. I worry when people say, I'd like to retire at age 40. I say, but not to work is inhuman. To work is an essential component of the human condition. You abstract yourself from the human condition when you say, I don't want to work. Different from saying, I don't want to work for a salary. That's a different story. But when you say, I don't want to work, you're abstracting yourself from the human condition. Let me also argue that teaching and learning is one of the characteristics of the human condition. There is no human society that ignores the process of teaching and learning. Apartheid's greatest achievement was to interfere in the relationship between those who wanted to learn and those who wanted to teach. The victims are still in our country, the victims of that policy. And whenever dogmatic dictatorships step into the relationship between those who wish to teach and those who wish to learn, we should all be concerned. We should all rise up in defense of the teachers and the learners. If you burn down my classroom, I'll teach under a tree. But if one young person says, I want to learn, I get out of bed and I come and teach. And if the president arrives at my classroom, the Pope, the Imam, whatever, they wait at the door until my class and I say, it's okay for you to come in. That's how sacred that relationship is. And that's why in many languages, including Southern African languages, the word for a teacher and the word for a priest have the same root. Because we think of it as a sacred relationship, that no one has the right to interfere. And the business of teaching and learning, as I say, as a human condition, as an essential component of the human condition, is something that we really have to defend. And we have to think about the values that we bring into our classroom and the values of the learners who will leave our schools and universities. What are they leaving with? Let me use the example. Some of you may still remember that incident at the University of the Free State where those students did terrible things to black workers. Remember? Not a pleasant event. It was a video that went around. I want to make this argument. What was offensive about that incident is not that it reminds us that there's racism in our country. I don't need a video to be reminded. We come from apartheid. Nobody comes without scars from that kind of experience. What was offensive about that incident is that those boys were about to graduate. Now, if you leave from a place that calls itself a university with those kind of social attitudes, then your institution has let you down. I expect my students to arrive with all sorts of prejudices about women, men, black people, white people, Jewish people, Muslims, whatever. I failed my students if they leave with those prejudices untouched. If I haven't given them an opportunity to look at the world through the eyes of the other, then I've failed my students. If they arrive believing that women deserve to be second class, then I will show them what the world looks like through the eyes of a woman. And they will learn to engage with others in a more civilized manner. I'm using the word civilized loosely. I know it's a loaded word. But I want people to engage with each other in a way that says, your opinion matters. Because that's the worst thing we can do to human beings. Worst things. To say to another group of people, by virtue of your identity, the way you dress, the way you look, the color of your skin, the texture of your hair, you hold opinions that do not matter. Because once I can convince myself of that, then the next step is easy. I therefore have the right to brutalize you. That's what happened. That's how Nazi Germany treated Jewish people. And you have to find a word that dehumanizes. So in Germany, they call the Jewish people rats. In Rwanda, the Hutus called the Tutsis cockroaches. In South Africa, we had a whole plethora of rude words for people. Because once you can do that, then you dehumanize and then you say, I therefore have the right to brutalize you. It is one of the ways in which we treat women in our country. We say your opinion doesn't matter. I therefore have the right to brutalize you. Our students cannot leave our places of learning with those kind of social attitudes intact. Your challenge is not light. I've been a teacher most of my life, mainly at university, but I do realize what a difficult task it is. Teaching is not easy. And the burden that we place on teachers in our society is not a light burden. But when you go through accreditation process like this, what you signal is that you're willing to rise to the challenge. And as a South African citizen, as Chair of Umalusi, as a member of this community, I'm very thankful for what you do. So go safely, wish you well, And may we see you in the future producing wonderful students and want to read about you in the newspaper. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof, as well as Dr. Rakometsi. We are really honored to have the Council Chair gracing this event. It shows that quality provision is taken seriously. I wish I was a student in your class, Prof. But also it shows us, yes, it shows us people the value that we add to society in the profession that we are. So thank you very much, Prof. The purpose of Prof Ballim's presentation was just to provoke also the provoke thinking on empowering excellence, pursuing quality education in a world of technological advancement. And we've learned a lot. So I'm going to take questions now, any questions, and then remember the people in the online chat form, online forum. You can note your questions on the chat feature, and we will then also try and answer your questions. So any questions, please introduce yourself as well as the school or the college. There's a hand. Thank you.
Ethos of in relation with your theme, this very much will be considered. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we only have that one question. Dr. Rakometsi. You can come here. Everyone can hear.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that input. It is truly appreciated. I would say we'll have to apply our minds on what you've just said. And that will do with a clear recommendation from you, if you don't mind, as to the points that we'd like us to review, so that we can then entertain the ideas fully, debate them fully internally, and then pronounce accordingly in due course. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Right, we will go on to the rest of the program. We are going now to go to the second speaker, and that is Ms. Cindy Thomas. She is the Senior Manager of Evaluation in the Accreditation Unit. Now, Ms. Cindy Thomas joined Umalusi on a full-time basis in February 2014 as a team leader for the full-time team of evaluators and subject specialists after having served Umalusi as a part-time evaluator from 2006. In September 2014, she took up the position of Manager Evaluation and Accreditation of Independent Schools. She is currently the Senior Manager for the Evaluation and Accreditation Unit since January 2017. In her 34-year service in the education field, she has experience as an educator in grades from preschool to grade 12, head of department, deputy principal, and principal in the independent school sector. She has served as a provincial coordinator for an independent schools association, including serving on the KwaZulu-Natal Joint Liaison Committee, a structure facilitating liaison between the Provincial Education Department and independent schools. So they were basically preparing you for your position here at Umalusi. Ms. Cindy Thomas holds a higher diploma in education an advanced certificate in education mathematics, intermediate and senior phase, cum laude, a Bachelor of Education Honours degree in Education Management with distinction, and a Master's degree in Educational Management, also with distinction. Ms. Cindy Thomas will give us an update on developments affecting private education institutions in the general and further education and training qualifications sub-framework. Let us put our hands together for Ms. Cindy Thomas.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Dr. Suji. Make me feel humbled here in front of everyone in this room. Prof Ballim, thank you for joining us today. It's really a pleasure to have you with us. CEO, thank you for coming in from your holiday. I hope you can go and rest after this. CFO, executive managers, senior managers, staff, and our guests online, Accreditation Committee of Council members, these provincial officials, Department of Basic Education officials, very warm welcome to you all today. So thank you for joining us on this special occasion where we can interact with you, our stakeholders, and acknowledge the institutions that have been awarded accreditation in the past year. My presentation is not a very long presentation. I'm just going to deal with some matters that we've had a lot of queries about over the last months. They're matters that affect private education institutions that offer our qualifications that are on our sub-framework. Please feel free to engage afterwards and ask questions because you might have some burning questions about the issues that we're dealing with. In my presentation, I'm going to speak about the NATED, the N1 to N3 engineering studies. I'm going to talk about accreditation of private adult education and training colleges, online schools. I'm going to talk a little bit about the window period that you hear us talking about monitoring, about the expiry of accreditation certificates, and the qualifications that Umalusi is responsible for. So to start with the NATED, I'm sure that many of you know that Government Gazette 49518 of 20th of October 2023, the NATED Report 190191 N1 to N3 engineering studies, the programs have been phased out as from the 1st of January 2024. The last date of enrollment for new people to enroll in this programs was the 31st of December 2023. So there's no new enrollments for the NATED N1 to N3 engineering studies programs. However, there is a teach-out period in place for the 3 trimesters this year and next year to the end of 2025. And the details of that are in the DHET circular, the TVET circular 0108 dated 18th of October 2023. So if you want more information about the exams that have been offered and which level has been offered at which trimesters, it's all in that circular. But Umalusi is no longer taking applications for accreditation to offer the program. In fact, if there's no program anymore, if it's phased out from the 1st of January, we cannot accredit you to offer a program that's been phased out. If you read the circular, it speaks about some subjects that are going to be retained for articulation purposes. Umalusi will not be accrediting institutions to offer those retained subjects. The DHET will manage that process in terms of which institutions are allowed to offer those retained subjects. The institutions that have been awarded accreditation since we knew about the phasing out, all the letters said that accreditation will lapse in line with the phase out of the programs. So the programs officially phased out from the 1st of January, but there is a teach-out period. And as you're aware, the DHET requires you to have permission from Umalusi before they will allow you to register students. So if you've got accreditation already and it covers you to the end of the teach-out period, then if the DHET registers you as an exam centre, it's fine. You can continue until the end of the teach-out period with the subjects that you're accredited to offer. But any institutions whose accreditation has already expired December 2023 or is expiring 2024, you need some sort of permission from Umalusi to be able to continue for the DHET to allow you to conduct exams. So during that period, we're no longer going to be talking about accrediting institutions. We're going to be talking about you give granted permission to continue offering the programs during the teach-out period, or you're not granted permission because you don't meet the requirements. So colleges whose accreditation expired this, at the end of December 2023, because the NATEC programs of accreditation is for 7 years. So the colleges whose accreditation expired on the 31st of December 2023, and those whose accreditations expire in the end of December 2024, those are the ones that will be affected by this phase out. If those colleges have met the minimum requirements for accreditation, and if they met the minimum requirements during the monitoring process, then they will get a letter. They will be advised there's a small fee to pay. Once they've paid that fee, then they'll get a letter to say that they're granted permission to offer the programs during the teach-out period. However, there are lots of colleges who have 7 years accreditation, but they're on a notice of intent to withdraw the accreditation because there's certain criteria that they're no longer meeting. Those colleges will need to meet those criteria before we give them a letter to extend the permission to offer those programs during the teach-out period. But we also have some colleges that are still in the process. Those of you who have colleges will know the process. You do the self-evaluation report and then we refer you to the DHET. The DHET provisionally registers you for a certain period. Now, if colleges want to continue with the process, if they don't continue, the application will be terminated. You will no longer have permission to be offering the programs. And if you've paid any fees towards a site visit, we can refund that. So you need to let us know at Umalusi if you want to terminate that application. But if you wish to continue, you will still be required to pay the costs involved. The process will continue, but you will not be granted accreditation for 7 years. It will be permission to offer the programs during the teach-out period. If your college is on a period of provisional accreditation or window period to improve, within that period, if you want to continue, it will be the same thing. You need to let us know that you want to continue, and the outcome there, if you meet the requirements, will be permission granted to offer the programs for the rest of the teach-out period. One change that is going to take place with colleges that offer the N1 to N3 engineering studies, if you don't meet the requirements during the site visit, the window period will take place straight away. Then you'll be given a period to say, we're giving you this period, a month or whatever it is, to meet the requirements. Then we will check after that time period, and then whatever has happened within that time period, the report will go to the Accreditation Committee of Council with that recommendation. So it won't be an outcome of a window period for those colleges. Once they go to the ACC during this teach-out period, it will either be permission granted to offer the programs or permission not granted to offer the programs. There might be some more questions during question time just now, but I'm going to go on to the next topic is about private adult education and training centres. Now, in terms of the AET offering the GETC ABET, the General Education and Training Certificate, Adult Basic Education and Training, the requirements are the same in terms of the Continuing Education and Training Act for a private FET college and a private AET college. Now, it hasn't been a problem for the bigger companies that offer the GETC ABET, but the smaller providers have been finding it quite a problem to deal with the requirements for registration and accreditation. And the DHET has relaxed some of the requirements in terms of registration. So accordingly, in terms of accreditation, we relax those same requirements. So registration in terms of the Companies Act is a requirement for private colleges, but for the adult education and training colleges, the DHET has said that they can be registered under any South African law, including close corporations, NGOs, NPOs and trusts. So that makes it a little bit easier for the smaller companies to be able to register as companies to fulfill the requirements of the DHET and at the same time the requirements of Umalusi. In terms of audited financial statements, it says they're saying that you can submit annual financial statements that are compiled or reviewed by an independent registered financial officer. You don't have to go through the cost of the audit, but there still needs to be financial statements submitted, compiled by an independent financial officer. In terms of the occupational health and safety report, exemption has been granted for use of client's premises to conduct training. But there is a need for the head office and any other of the own sites to have the health and safety certificate. For instance, if you're a provider and you wanted to do your training at this venue here, you wouldn't need to provide the health and safety certificate for this venue. It's obviously, you'd need to make sure that it's a safe place with the venue. But for your own training premises, you would need a health and safety certificate. And then the next one is about the financial surety agreement. There is exemption for institutions that do not charge tuition fees directly to the students. So if you're getting a grant or something, you can prove you've got evidence that there's a grant, then you don't need to submit the financial surety agreement. So we're trusting that is going to make it a little bit easier for those private colleges offering the adult education and training qualifications. The next one is about window period. I've already spoken about the window period. If you get an outcome of a window period, it's not an accreditation status. It means that your institution did not meet the requirements for accreditation. Now, the whole I'm speaking to here, all of these people have received accreditation. So it's not the status that all of you, or the stage that all of you are on in this room. But in terms of the Promotion of Administrative Justice Act, the PAJA Act, in terms of the General and Further Education and Training, in terms of the GenFEDCA Act, in terms of our accreditation policies, we cannot just give an institution no accreditation outcome immediately. We have to give you an opportunity to improve. So the window period is saying you didn't meet the requirements. This is your opportunity to improve. So if you get a window period, it's not a claim to say, oh, we on a window period, we've met the requirements of Umalusi, we're compliant. It means that the institution did not meet the requirements. So they need to fix up whatever was not in place before they can actually continue with the process. Now, in terms of the window period, to continue with the process, there is a payment that must be made and a time limit within which you need to meet the requirements for accreditation. So you need to comply with those requirements to continue with your application. If you do not pay, if you do not submit further information, if you don't take part in the site visit, then we will submit your report back to the Accreditation Committee of Council, and they will confirm the original decision, which was that your institution did not meet the requirements, which means you will get a no accreditation outcome. As I said before, the one change that is happening is those colleges that offer the N1 to N3 engineering studies for the next 2 years in the teach-out period. That window period will happen before the report goes to the Accreditation Committee of Council, not after it's been for the first time. Another topic that we get a lot of questions about is about online schools. Now, Umalusi does not accredit online schools. Our mandate restricts us to institutions that are registered in terms of the South African Schools Act and the Continuing Education and Training Act. Now, as you know, the online schools are not registered by the department at this stage. The Department of Basic Education is working on a framework for regulation of online schools, but at the moment, online schools are not registered by the department, and Umalusi does not accredit online schools. However, because they're offering our qualification, the National Senior Certificate, we have to make sure that it remains a credible qualification. So what we are doing, over and above engaging with the DBE about the framework, we also have been communicating with the assessment bodies. And as you know, it's mainly the IEB and Sakai that are registering the online schools. And we're holding them accountable for the candidates that they register through the assessment bodies. So they have to ensure that the school-based assessment is credible. They have to ensure that the conduct of exams is credible. And all of those processes, we're actually holding the private assessment bodies or the assessment body that registers those candidates. We're holding them accountable for the credibility of the qualification. In addition, Umalusi has been conducting research. There's a team that's been conducting research about what's going on in different countries. They've also been going around visiting schools, online schools, and doing some research into what's going on so that Umalusi can also assist in the development of the framework of these schools. Another aspect we have a lot of questions on is monitoring. The policy for accreditation monitoring of independent schools and also for private colleges refers to monitoring. After an institution is accredited, the institution must be monitored, but it doesn't specify the time period. So we're doing what we call a differentiated type of monitoring. Now, generally what is happening now is that all accredited institutions are monitored in their second year of accreditation. We get a lot of questions from people. They phone, they said, we had our monitoring report 2 years ago. We know we're going to receive our new one. At the moment, we're doing it in year 2 of the accreditation. And then for schools, we are monitoring them again in year 6. And you'll see just now while we say the year 6. We also monitor accredited schools who have a grade 12 pass rate, which is below the NSC national average. So we call them underperforming schools. Those are all monitored each year. Also, if we receive complaints from the public and stakeholders, then we will follow up and monitor those schools. And there's also random sampling. We go and visit some schools unannounced. So for instance, if we're doing a site visit in one area or one city, we might go and then visit an accredited school just to go and monitor what's happening at that school. And Umalusi does conduct unannounced site visits, but the officials will always have a letter authorizing the visit. So if someone turns up unannounced at your school or your college, please ask them for the letter, because we have in the past heard about people that are impersonating Umalusi. So please insist on that, ask for the letter. If you're not sure, it's got contact numbers there where you can phone me or the manager who's overseeing the process. So please confirm that if they do turn up unannounced. Institutions are notified by letter of the outcome of the monitoring. We've been asked in the past, we know they're getting their certificate after monitoring. So after the normal monitoring, there's no additional certificate. It's the letter that you received to say that you've been granted continued accreditation. But while I'm talking about that, about certificates, you will notice that accreditation certificates all have an expiry date. For private colleges, the time of the accreditation is stated on the certificate, and later on we'll actually be showing you examples of this. So private colleges, the accreditation ends on the date that's stated on the certificate. So private colleges must reapply for accreditation in year 6 of their 7-year accreditation to ensure that there's no break in the accreditation status. It's not an automatic renewal for private colleges. You have to reapply in year 6. Obviously, we're talking here about the NCV and the GETC ABET. We no longer take in reapplications for the NATED programs. And it's not an automatic renewal. You need to meet all the requirements for accreditation again to be able to extend to be granted accreditation. So it's not extension, it's a reapplication for accreditation for private colleges. And so that is why when I spoke earlier about monitoring, I didn't mention about the colleges being monitored in year 6. It's because it's the reapplication taking place in year 6. But for independent schools, their accreditation does not have an expiry date. However, the certificate has an expiry date, and that's 7 years. So the colleges, you've got 7 years accreditation. For independent schools, you have your certificate is valid for 7 years. Now, if you've met the requirements for monitoring in your year 6, then we will automatically issue you with a new certificate. However, if you don't meet the requirements, if your notice of intent to withdraw accreditation, we will withhold that certificate until you meet the requirements for accreditation. So always, if you're checking to see if an institution is accredited, please always check the expiry dates on the certificate. For colleges, it's the end of the accreditation. For schools, it's the expiry date. And if there are schools that still haven't submitted the certificate, we asked you to return those that didn't have expiry dates, those certificates are no longer valid. So if you're sitting with a certificate that doesn't have a date, it means that you can't use that to prove that you're accredited. Every certificate must have an expiry date. And then this last slide that that I'm speaking on, we're always getting queries. You should just see we've got a general email account where all queries go to. The queries that we get about every qualification in the country. People want to know if this is an accredited qualification, if that is one. We get them about swimming lessons, we get them about music lessons, we get them about higher education and all sorts of queries. The only queries that we can actually answer and speak about the accredited institutions are queries about institutions that are offering the National Senior Certificate, that's at NQF Level 4, about the National Certificate Vocational, in the NCV, also NQF Level 4, and the General Education and Training Certificate, that's a GETC ABET at NQF Level 1. And please, people, that's GETC ABET is NQF Level 1, equivalent to grade 9. It's not at the same level as the NSC. It's really sad. We often get queries from people. They say, the university won't accept me. They said my qualification is not right, and we say, send your certificate, let's see what it is. And they send a GETC certificate, and they've been misled to believe that that's equivalent to a matric. In fact, we have people that are going to do grade 10, then some of these places tell them, you can improve your matric marks by doing this GETC. And it's really sad to see how the people are it really messes up their lives, because they've got to start all over again with their qualifications. So please, if you ever hear anyone talking about it, advise them. The GETC is at NQF Level 1, not the same as NQF Level 4. Now those qualifications that are bolded, those are the qualifications that we accredit institutions to offer. There's also the Senior Certificate is amended, which is certified by Umalusi. And there is also the National Senior Certificate for Adults, a NESCA, and the General Education and Training Certificate for Adults, the JETCA, which are on our sub-framework, but the NESCA and the JETCA are not yet implemented. So the Senior Certificate as amended is in place until the NESCA is implemented, and it's the same with the GETC ABET. It's in place until the JETCA is implemented. Thank you. If you've got any queries, please send them to that email address, accreditation@umalusi.org.za, and then we direct it to the relevant people. So you don't have to remember somebody's name. If you're not sure who to direct an email to, send it to that email and we'll forward it to the relevant person. Thanks. Thank you.
This one. Thank you. Hi, Cindy, how are you? Good. I just want to ask, on your monitoring slide, I didn't see that you monitor finances. As the chairman of Mpumalanga JLC, I had a school contacted me that received a letter from Umalusi stated that their finances is not up to standard and they are going to lose their accreditation because of that, which is concerning for me because they are now 5 years into their accreditation. They had some struggles in COVID, but they're also subsidized by the Provincial Education Department. According to them, there's nothing wrong with their finances, but according to you, and I don't know how you got into their finances, because the lady told me they send it only once when they applied. So if you can give me answers on that, please.
Sorry, can we just have the names and the institutions they're from as well? Thanks.
My name is Vixon. I come from Y2K College in Western Cape. I just wanted to ask on the qualification that are offered, National Senior Certificate and the Senior Certificate. There is also the issue, the second question is on the physics and the mathematics and the maths lit. The first one, let me start with the most important that is affecting my learners, the physics. A learner wrote matric. and passed physics and fails mathematics. This child comes and say, I want to change mathematics. It's difficult. I'm doing maths lit. The child writes maths lit and pass maths lit. Then they say, no, you failed physics, even if you passed physics. And then this child gets confused and they get mad. Why? But I did best. Why are you removing physics, but I passed my physics? The second question is on the senior certificate and national senior certificate. A child who wrote national senior certificate and they are advised by the provincial department, they can still write in June to write senior certificate. And these learners goes and write senior certificate. And then this child is told, no, your LO will not be applicable in the next certificate. So those are confusions that are really bothering the learners. Why are my hard work that I did to get a pass in physics removed? Why are they going to remove my LO? Thank you.
Implementation? Is someone going to make a decision? It's been a long time, so I'm just hopeful. Thank you. Oh, I'm Sharon from EEE Training.
Thank you. I'm Solim Kabela from Solwazi Primary School. Mine is one question. I just want to ask Umalusi if are they not considering issuing certificates in grade 9 under general education and training, because they're issuing for ABET. What about the grade 9? Because for a child that started the preschool and study for 13 years to get a senior certificate, it's too much. But if they can consider at least giving the grade 9 certificates. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think some of the questions because they're actually not accreditation, they're more with the other units. So should I ask Mr. Sibanda or Mr. Twala for those ones? Okay. Okay. In terms of monitoring, we do check the finances. In terms of that, we need to make sure that the school is financially viable. Now, what we require is the financial statements for the most recent financial year end. So if the financial year end was 31st of December 2023, then by the end, after June, we give them 6 months to get the financial statements for that year, and then after that they must have for the most recent one. So right now we're in March, we'll accept for 31st of December 2022, but from after June it has to be for 2023, 31st of December 2023. So it's a 6-month period after the financial year end that we allow. After that, the certificates, the financial statements are considered old. They need to have new ones. Also, they must be compiled. They must either be audited or compiled by an independent registered financial officer. Because sometimes you find it's just someone within the organization itself that has compiled the statements. So there's all sorts of reasons why we didn't consider those ones. They're welcome to query that same accreditation email address. They can query that. Also, all institutions, once you get your no accreditation outcome, there is a 10 working day period in which you can appeal. And all those details are in the letter. So they can state, first of all, they either want to query or they want to appeal. So they're welcome. I'm not sure when they got the outcome, but they're welcome to query the reason for it, and we can explain to them. In terms of the maths and the physics, I'm going to leave that to Mr. Sibanda's branch. And the senior certificate and national senior certificate, all those fall under that branch. NESCA and JETCA, I'm not sure if the CEO wants to answer that one or leave it with him as well. And the certificates in grade 9, it also falls under Mr. Twala. Would you like to come up here, or is Mr. Sibanda going to come? Mr. Twala? This is Mr. Dennis Twyler. He's the Senior Manager for the Qualifications, Curriculum and Certification Unit. Please come to the mic. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Cindy, and good morning, colleagues. I think on the question of mathematics, physical science, and maths lit, is that if a learner has taken mathematics with physical sciences and later changes to do mathematics, maths lit, the learner will not be resulted in terms of combining physical sciences with maths lit. Yeah, so please let us advise learners correctly so that when they change subjects, they are aware of the repercussions. Now, another question has to do with learners moving from NSC to SC. Now, also, this is very problematic. For now, if a learner moves from NSC to SC with regards to life orientation, it means now that the certificate that is going to be issued, it will be a senior certificate. And then they obviously would lose the life orientation that they had in the National Senior Certificate. So where they change from the NSC to Senior Certificate, now it's the Senior Certificate certificate that will be issued. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I just introduce you? This is Mr. Emmanuel Sibanda. He's the Executive Manager for the Qualifications and Research Branch.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It should not be possible for a learner to move from NSC to Senior Certificate. It should not be possible. So if it happened to be, but otherwise, Senior Certificate is meant for the adult, and then they'll be writing it for the first time in June. The NSC is offered in November, and also in June. So if the candidate wrote or a learner wrote in November for the NSC, then he must continue with the NSC, unless if he registered for Senior Certificate under a different name, that's a different matter. But otherwise, you're welcome to contact me during break, and then I can take the details of that learner and investigate in terms of what happened. Thanks.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. Maybe just to amplify the point that had been taken by Mr. Twyler, that mathematics will always go with physical science. Immediately you take physical sciences with mathematical literacy, that combination does not work. So it is clear that when you do supplementary, you cannot migrate from mathematics to maths lit because the two do not do a combination. Just think of it. A learner who's got physical sciences and maths lit, where is he going with that combination at university level? He'll not be able to progress anywhere. So the rules of combination do not allow that. And about the NASCA and the JETCA, we are dependent on the Department of Higher Education and Training to finalize the qualification. On our part, we've been able to register the qualification with SAQA. However, they've been struggling with the production of the textbooks, the putting together of the curriculum inside the individual subjects and so forth and so on. Now, there's been a view that even before the NASCA takes off, it has to be reviewed. And the minister has ordered that it be reviewed so that there were some teething problems with the qualification for it to take off. We don't know where that review is going to take us. There was also a request of issuing a certificate at grade 9 level in the same way as the the GTC ABET is at grade is at level 1 of the NQF. The department is busy as we speak with a qualification called General Education Certificate, GC, at grade 9 level, and it will be NQF level 1. As to the assessment model that the department is going to adopt, we are not sure. That is a matter that we are busy debating with the department. And as to whether the department would wish to issue a certificate at that level, we are not sure. Look at it this way. We've got a huge system for the National Senior Certificate. We're talking now about 800,000 to 1 million learners. Now, GEC is going to be almost double that number. So the department also, what it is debating is, do they want to have another massive system as big as the NSC, if not bigger? You know, so we are busy with those discussions with the department, and we'll let you know in due course. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. We'll take a second round, and I think there are 2 questions on the chat.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suji. Let me be the voice for those that are attending online. Firstly, that most of them appreciate the presentation by Prof. They appreciate a lot on the chat box, and also the CEO, they appreciate. Although one of the attendees also asked a question again about the equivalence of the IB certificate and that of Umalusi. But I am glad that I saw some of the colleagues are responding to say that it was covered by Dr. Rakometsi's presentation. But I think, Doc, you can still cover it. And then also, we tried to address as many questions as we can on the chat box. I trust that if the colleagues are not happy, they will pose them again. I just want to raise about 2 questions. One, it comes from Eden College. They are saying, I'm not sure if this is the correct platform to inquire about, but how do I introduce AP subjects? Right? And then the next question from Grace Prep, they say, what is the update on private schools using independent learning with qualified educators as supervisors? ACE as a curriculum to receive accreditation with Umalusi. I'm not sure if that it's clear. And then I think there's this one from Tabiso. I would like to understand why GETC 80 level 4 results are released while there are some of the learning areas results still outstanding and seemingly not captured in the system. This is causing serious problems for our students. And then I think this will be the last one. It's unknown user. Good morning. Maybe my query has been missed. I realize a lot of information is being shared. As an online school, we are concerned about the Department of Education seemingly actively discouraging parents or guardians to make use of online schools, citing the non-registration of online schools. We desperately need the framework as well as the relevant legislation to be finalized. Can Umalusi please intervene on this? I think that's it. And then, Doc, maybe before that, I just want to clarify that the role between Umalusi and the DHET, because I saw quite a few questions, that it must be clear that Umalusi is responsible for accreditation while the Department of Higher Education and Training is responsible for registration. So most of the questions that are posted are about registration and not necessarily accreditation. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we take more questions? Do you want to respond to that?
We can. I think there was just one.
Okay.
But can we just introduce you Mary? So that
She
they know
did
who's-
introduce
that you-
herself.
yeah. She's Miss Mary Madia. She's a manager that's responsible for the site visit process. We call it evaluation and verification. So thank you, Mary. Yeah.
All right. Are there any more questions? Okay, we have one here. Okay, then can we then have a response after that one question? Thanks.
I just want to find out if independent schools are allowed to operate as ABET centers as well. Thank you.
Okay, I'll answer some, but some of them are for the other colleagues here as well. So equivalence of IEB and NEC, I think CEO's answered that one is with CEO. How to introduce AP subjects, can I leave that to Dennis? Okay, update on the schools that are using facilitators in another program. I'll answer that one. Umalusi accredits an institution to offer a qualification, and an accreditation recognizes the capacity of that institution to offer the qualification. So if you're using a program from someone else and you just got people, let me say, babysitting or just making sure that they sit and work, they're not actually the facilitator, they're not actually the teachers themselves. It's not, the school is not showing the capacity to offer that qualification. So a school that is doing that will not meet the requirements for accreditation because they are not providing the program themselves. They're not providing the assessments themselves. It's coming from a third party in terms of that. Okay, in terms of the GETC results, also that's to Mr. Sibanda's branch. The online school, about the department discouraging them. We can't speak on behalf of the department. They need to speak on their own, but I'm not sure if Mr. Sibanda wants to add in terms of Umalusi's role in what we're doing at the moment in terms of online schools. I did mention it a little bit earlier. You might want to add a bit more. And then also, Mary, the role between the Umalusi and the DHET, you're correct. For Umalusi is responsible for accreditation, but before an institution is accredited, they must be registered. An independent school must be registered by the Department of Basic Education through the Provincial Education Department, and the private college must be registered with the Department of Higher Education and Training. So you will not be accredited if you're not registered. There are different processes to start the accreditation process, different routes, but once you get to the stage, before you can have a site visit, you have to be registered with the relevant departments. And then in terms of independent schools allowed to operate as an ABET centre, you would need to have two separate registrations. So there also you'd have to be registered as an independent school with the department or provincial education department, and then as an ABET centre with the Department of Higher Education and Training. So they might require that you've got these separate premises. It would depend on their registration requirements. And once you're registered under that relevant department, then you can come to us for accreditation. Okay, so I'm going to hand over, I think, to Dennis again.
On the AP subjects, these are advanced programs which were exclusively offered by the IEB. There was a discussion in the past in terms of having the advanced programs included into the National Senior Certificate qualification, but that discussion did not succeed. And as we speak now, Umalusi is no longer quality assuring the advanced programs. The advanced programs were the specific subjects in the NS, part of the subjects that were offered by the IEB, mainly English, Afrikaans, mathematics, and the suite of physics and chemistry. So that debate in terms of getting these subjects onto the NSC has died. And it is not possible that you can offer something that is not in the NSC qualification. So there's no way in which we can accommodate or offer or quality assure the advanced programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. On the two questions, the first one is about the release of the GETC results. I'll need more information from the participant, Mary, in order for us to respond fully. And you're welcome to share with him our email address, and then I will definitely respond to that. The bottom line is that Umalusi is at the tail end. You know, we certify, we standardize, and we also certify. But now it is possible that we might have a backlog in terms, or there might be a backlog in as far as certification is concerned, which is a matter that the assessment body has to address. So in this case, it can either be DHEAD or maybe one of the private assessment bodies, but one will need more information so that one can investigate to say what exactly is it we're talking about here. On the independent schools, the fact is the department is currently busy working on the framework for regulating independent schools. As Umalusi, we are engaging with them. And, on online schools, sorry, let me just repeat, what did I say? On the online school, the department is working on the framework for regulating online schools. And as Umalusi, we're just engaging with them on the non-negotiables. And also we engaged with the other assessment bodies on the non-negotiables. And one of the non-negotiables is that the private assessment bodies have the responsibility of ensuring the validity and the credibility of the SPA. And all the assessment bodies, including Umalusi, have the responsibility of ensuring the integrity of the National Senior Certificate. And hopefully before the end of the year, or before the end of let me say before the end of the year, the department will have the framework ready. Thanks.
Thank you for that responses. We are going to just have the last round of questions. I know there's 2 questions here from the chat, so I'm going to give over to Mary, and then we can just have if there are other questions. This will be the last round. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. This one comes from Ifia. Good morning. Can I please get a clarity on when 2022 N1, 2, and 3 certificate will be released? Then the next one is from Danny Z. Why can't we introduce more technical subjects as early as intermediate phase, e.g. technical graphics, computer engineering? And then from Alta, so to retain math N1 to 3, science for students to go to N4, how or what is the procedure? Right, and then this one from Grammy, I think something is missing there, it's incomplete because it just says what time frame is being applied to there. And it's, so maybe you were still typing and then you press the button. Then there's accreditation of online schools, or the accreditation of online schools, because it comes from Graham, right? So it's about the accreditation of online schools, right? And how long does it take to get an Umalusi certificate if you are a private school? I'm not sure. It's a bit vague because we are not sure which certificate is it's let's see, Mpepu. Just be clear because we're not sure which certificate are you referring to. Are you referring to learner certificates? Are you referring to the accreditation certificate? Or just try to clarify your question. And I think that's it, Doc. Thanks.
Thank you. So Sandy, you will respond to the accreditation ones, and then Dennis and Mr. Zibanda certification.
Shall I start with the accreditation, about the time frame for accreditation of online schools? That's going to depend on the Department of Basic Education, because once the framework is finalized, then they will put measures in place to register online schools. And once online schools are registered, then we'll be able to start with the accreditation. But we're not waiting until then. We're already working. As I said, we're doing research to develop the instrument and have everything ready so that we can actually move forward in line with the framework being approved. Thanks. Mr. Sibanda and Dennis.
Thank you. Let me just clarify. In terms of certification, we don't certify for N1 and N2. We certify only for N3. Right. Now, in terms of how long does it take to get a certificate, let me just try to answer it in this way. For the November exams, October, November, we certify in the following year in March, April. Right? For those who write in June, that will be June, July. We certify in October, November. So it's 3 months after the exams. Thank you. Dennis?
Yeah, on the question that is linked to the NATED 1, 2, 3 programs, as Ms. Thomas indicated in her presentation, that these programs have been phased out and there's no way in which they could be retained except those that were indicated as part of assisting learners to articulate towards the trade programs. So currently the NATED programs are under a phased out program.
Can I add to that? Sorry. If you're wanting to offer them, you're going to have to speak to the Dr. Butalezi's department, the registration directorate at the DHET about that. You'll need to be registered to be able to offer them beyond the phase-out period. And they're speaking about looking at to see whether you are accredited to offer the QCTO qualification that you are articulating towards. But all of that will fall under the DHET once it's phased out by Umalusi. So you'll need to speak directly to the DHET for that. About introducing technical subjects in the intermediate phase. Mr. Sibanda, do you want to answer that one as well? Because it's also about the qualification and that the DHET's responsible for. DPE is responsible for. I've answered it, I'm telling you. Okay, thank you. Well, basically the qualification is developed by the Department of Basic Education, and then they submit it to Umalusi for approval, and then it's got to be registered on the sub framework. So that process falls under the DBE, not under Umalusi. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Can we have an end? Yeah. Thank you very much. We are going to have a short break now. So it's going to be for 30 minutes, right? And then the time that we will be back. We will be back by 20 past 11. So it's now 10 past. Okay, we will be back by... No, I said 20 past. Okay, we will be back by 20 past. And then please remember the online people on the online platform to fill in the feedback form. There will be a separate table, people taking halals.
The Association for Educational Assessment in Africa, the AEAA, has chosen South Africa to host their 2024 annual AEAA Conference. This is the AEAA's 40th conference and will be held from the 19th to the 23rd of August 2024 in Cape Town.
Umalusi appreciates the confidence bestowed on it by the Executive Committee of the Association for Educational Assessment in Africa to organize the 40th AEAA Conference. The conference will take place at the Century City Conference Center, an hotel in Cape Town, South Africa, from 19 to 23 August 2024. The theme of the conference is Reimagining Educational Assessment in the Age of Multiple Dimensions of Learning in a Global Society. The word Umalusi is a Nguni word referring to the header, shepherd or guardian of the family's wealth. In this instance, the name Umalusi is used to illustrate that we are taking care of the country's most valuable possession, which is education in general and further education and training in South Africa. Umalusi delivers on his mandate by ensuring the development of qualifications and associated curricula as are required for the sector, accrediting providers to offer Umalusi's qualifications, accrediting
certificates. Now, can I ask Prof Ballim and Dr Rakometsi to come to the stage, please, to present the certificates to the recipients. Now, Dr Gugulethu Nkambule, the Manager of Accreditation and Coordination Subunits in the Evaluation and Accreditation Unit of Umalusi, will read out the names of the institutions. I'm going to introduce Dr Gugulethu Nkambule. He joined Umalusi as a full-time evaluator in the E&A unit in February 2015. He is currently employed as a manager in the Evaluation and Accreditation Unit of Umalusi, responsible for the Accreditation and Coordination subunits. He also worked as a provincial monitor in the Quality Assurance of Assessment Unit for Umalusi in 2014. Dr. Nkambule has taught mathematics in various schools in grade 7 to 12. He was also the head of department and principal in 2 public schools in the Mpumalanga province. Dr. Nkambule holds a senior primary teacher's diploma, a further diploma in education in educational guidance, a Bachelor of Education honors degree in educational management, a Master of Education degree in educational leadership, and a Doctor of Philosophy degree in education management law and policy. Can Dr. Nkambule please come to the front? Thank you. Now I'm going to just explain the procedure of the certificate presentation. Now those receiving certificates have been allocated a number which is indicated on your name tag. Please take note of this number. When we call the group of numbers within which your number falls, please come to the front and line up on my right-hand side in numerical order. If there are 2 delegates from the school or college, then both can come to receive the certificates. We will then call out the name of your college or school according to the numerical order indicated on the name badges. When your college or school name is announced, please come up onto the stage, receive your certificates, from the Chair of Council and the CEO. Please pose for a photo with the Chair of Council and CEO, and then you will go down to the table on my left where you will sign for your certificate and then go back to your seat. Now, the certificates for the accredited institutions who could not attend the physical forum will be couriered to their schools or colleges during March. Thank you. Now I'm going to give over to Dr. Nkambule. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Suji. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to call out the names of the institutions which receive accreditation in the period from January until December 2023. So as indicated, I'll call the numbers, then the institutions or the representative from the institutions will line up from that row. So I'm starting to call out now from number 1 to number 10. Can they line out from that side? Okay, while they are lining out, I'm starting to call the first institution. It will be a college. So colleagues, help me to congratulate Technical SA College, accredited to offer NATED Engineering Studies N1 to N3. Congratulations. The second college is Tegwini City College, Durban, accredited to offer NATED Engineering Studies N1 to N3. Congratulations. The next one is Curo Holdings, Rudeplat, accredited to offer NCV, but focusing on information technology and computer science. Congratulations. Congratulations to EEE Training, accredited to offer GETC ABET at NQF Level 1. Congratulations. We are done with the colleges. We are starting with the schools. Let's congratulate 3D Christian Academy, accredited to offer grade 8 to 12. Congrats. I now call upon Althea Independent School, accredited to offer grade 1 to 9. The next school is Crystal Springs Private School, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. The next school. Thank you. The next school is Kuro Academy, Mamelodi. They are accredited to offer grade 1 to 7. Congratulations. Can I, in the meantime, request number 11 to 20 to come and line up? Congratulations to Kuro Academy Mbombela. They are accredited to offer grade 1 to 9. Kuro Krugersdorp High, accredited to offer grade 8 to 12. Kuro van der Bay Park Combined, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Kuro Waterfall Combined, accredited to offer grade 1 to 7. Girona Academy, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Congratulations to EduClinic Learning Center, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Edu College Combined School with Bank, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Congratulations. Empower Christian Academy, accredited to offer grade 1 to 7. Congratulations. Brantley College, accredited to offer grade 8 to 12. Congratulations. Can I request numbers 21 to 30 to come and join? Congratulations to Ituba Wild Coast Community College, accredited to offer grade 1 to 7. Lotus School of Excellence, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Madrasa Tabia, difficult name, accredited to offer grade 1 to 7. Maragon Moikloof, accredited to offer grade 8 to 12. Congratulations to Mida School, accredited to offer grade 4 to 12. New Generations Girls Academy, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Orion Private College, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Riaruta Preparatory School, accredited to offer grade 1 to 7. Radium House Umhlanga, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Ridgeway Muslim School, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Can I, in the meantime, request number 31 to 42 to come in line up? Serena House Cottage School accredited to offer grade 8 to 12. Congratulations. Soloazi Primary School accredited to offer grade 1 to 7. Sparrows Private School accredited to offer grade 8 to 12. I'm told they are now they've changed, they are joining online, so they are not here, but let's congratulate them. St. Gemma's Primary School offering grade 1 to 7. Congratulations. St. Thomas Independent School accredited to offer grade 1 to 9. Study Express Potchefstroom accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Victoria's Independent School accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Watershed Technical School accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. Y2K College is accredited to offer grade 8 to 12. Congratulations. Zambezi Academy, they are accredited to offer grade 1 to 9. The next cohort of schools are receiving accreditation for the second time. They were accredited before, then they have extended scope, and now they are receiving accreditation. So it will be Dal Park Independent Education Center, accreditation extended to offer grade 1 to 9. Congratulations. Hawk Academy, accreditation extended to offer grade 1 to 12. Johannesburg Muslim School, accreditation extended to offer grade 1 to 12. Midland Primary and High School, accreditation extended to offer grade 1 to 12. The King School, White River, accreditation extended to offer grade 1 to 12. Colleagues, the next cohort is for the institutions that are attending online. But there are only 2 curios that are left that are going to be collected. But for the sake of the order, we will call the institutions, then we will come for the calling out of the curio where they will come to shake hands with the CEO and the chairperson of council. Ambleside School of Hout Bay, they are accredited to offer grade 10 to 12. They are attending online, they are not here, but let's congratulate them. Camelot College, they are accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. They are also attending online. Let's congratulate them. Concord College, Malberton, accredited to offer grade 8 to 12. Congratulations to them. Then Curio Rivonia, combined accreditation extended to offer grade 1 to 12. Congratulations. She's also taking the certificate for Curo AIDS High School, accredited to offer grade 8 to 12. Congratulations. Okay, the remainder is, I will call them, they are not here. Maybe we can, okay, it is Donato's Private School Trust operating as Donato's Private School accredited to offer grade 10 to 12. Jack and Jill Primary School is accredited to offer grade 1 to 7. The next school is Lyre School, Koo, accredited to offer grade 1 to 7. Long Acres Private School, accredited to offer grade 1 to 9. Robertson Logos Christian School, accreditation extended to offer grade 1 to 12. Royal Schools, Alberton, accredited to offer grade 1 to 12. The last school is Wellington Preparatory School and College, accreditation extended to offer grade 1 to 12. Program Director, that concludes my session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To all the staff, and especially also Dr. Nkambule, who actually handled the certificates. So thank you very much for the staff who put this whole certificate presentation together. Now, in terms of the certificate that you have just received, the details on that certificate reflect what the institution has been accredited for. On the certificate, you'll have the registered name of the institution, the physical site where the institution is accredited to operate, the programs, qualifications, and grades the institution is accredited to offer. In the case of the schools, the EMIS number that is accredited, and the date of accreditation. As Ms. Thomas also explained, for private colleges, you'll have the end date of accreditation, and for independent schools, you'll have the expiry date of the certificate. Now, it's very important why we're mentioning this, because you get a lot of other schools that will use a different site than the one that they are accredited for. So any changes to any of those details affects the accreditation of the institution and must be communicated to Umalusi immediately, as well as changes in the ownership and in the principal. Now, independent schools accreditation certificates that do not reflect an expiry date, they are no longer valid. So the independent schools that may have joined online and still have certificates with no expiry date are urged to contact Umalusi to determine how to exchange a certificate for a valid one with an expiry date. So we came to the conclusion now of this function. So I'm going to close now. First of all, I want to thank you for attending and wish you well in ensuring quality provision in your institutions. I want to thank the Chair of Council and the CEO for your attendance here today. It is really appreciated. Thank you to all the staff who have been involved in the arrangements for today's meeting. They really pay attention to detail. Thank you to the staff also at the venue and those who have been providing the technical assistance. A last reminder to please complete the feedback form, which can also be found online for the people who are online. I invite the participants now in the venue to join us for lunch, which is a buffet. It will be in the hotel restaurant. The staff will guide you where to go. For people with special dietary requirements, you can fetch your voucher from reception. We have ended a little bit earlier, so I think the lunch will be at 12:30, unfortunately. But can I please also invite you to take some photos? We have the celebrities here. So if you want to take some photos, please feel welcome to take some photos. Okay, we've come now to the end of the meeting. So I want to say the meeting is adjourned and thank you very much. The accreditation forum, is adjourned. So thank you very much for your attendance.